Hi students, welcome back. I hope you have understood chapter 5. Now let us start unit 2 chapter 6 control structures. Let us see what are the topics given in this chapter. It is all about control structures. We do have three types of control structures. The very first one is sequential, second one is alternative and branching, and third one is iterative or looping. These are the three control structure statements. But in this video, we are not going to discuss all the three. The very first two, that is sequential and alternative or branching statement. Only these two will be the topic of this video. Iterative or looping we will see in separate video. So let us get into the topic. So let's see the introduction of this chapter. See, whenever we write a program, we will write multiple statements or we will stop with one single statement. So when we write multiple statements, we say it as a segment or we say it as a set of statements. So all the statements will be executed one after the other. That is not going to happen in all the situation, but generally it will work one after the other. For example, if you are going to write 10 lines of program, all the 10 lines will be executed one after the other. But in some situation what happens is we will be forced to skip some statement or we will be in need of executing one particular statement many times. So in such situation comes control structure. That is, the entire program should have a control. We may jump from one statement to other statement, or we will execute line by line, or else we will execute one particular segment multiple times. These are the three ways of execution. So it is maintained as control structures in Python. First one is sequential statement. Second one is alternative or branching, and the third one is iterative or looping. Let's get into the topic. We'll start discussing from the first one, that is sequential statement. So I already told you that when we write multiple statements, all the statements will execute one after the other. That process is actually called as sequential. So for example, here there is two print statement. So how these two print statements are going to work? Let's see how this program works in online editor. Here I have written two print statement and obviously it will work one by one after the other. Let's run the program and we got the result in shell. This is the result, two lines. Since we had two print statement, we got the result as two lines. Okay, I think you have understood sequential statements. Now let us move on to the next concept, that is alternative or branching statement. In the name itself, it is very clear, alternative, either this or that. You do have so many choice. Now look at this picture. In this picture, one problem can be solved in different methods. You do have different ways to reach the destiny. Similarly, you can connect this concept in your day-to-day life. Actually, we are in need of taking decision for certain situations. It is not that always you pick the same way. It is your choice. You can select the best path to reach your destination. Now let's get into actual Python programming. That is, alternative statements or branching statements, we do have many types. We do have simple if statement, if else statement, and the last one is if elif statement. So last year you have learned all this in control structure. The same thing once again. So the last statement, that is if elif, is nothing but nested if else statement. Now let's see one by one. The very first one is simple if statement. In the name itself it is clear that it is simple if, which means in the statement only if statement will be available. This is the simplest form of decision making statement. If the given condition or the expression is satisfied, it works, or else we have no words to say. That's it. See, look at the syntax. If condition, and you have to end up with colon. Here there is a difference. In C++ we will not end up with colon or semicolon, But in Python, if statement it is compulsory, you should end up with a colon. And look at the statement block 1 where it is written after tab space. That should be maintained to mention that particular line is a action block of if statement. Now let us quickly get into online editor and let's see how it works. Okay, now look at the first line. It is an input statement. At the runtime, we get the value from the user and the data is actually stored in the variable x. And then the second line is simple if statement. Since there is no else block, we say it as simple if. We do have the test condition x greater than or equal to 18. So the variable x is compared with the number 18. If it is satisfied, if the condition is true, then we do get this print statement. If it is false, nothing else to read. So look at this print statement. We do have space in front of print keyword. Why that space is given? To mention this line as the action block of if statement. That is why we give that space. Now let's run the program. Give any number as the age. Here I give 13, which is not going to be satisfied. So look at the answer. We got the command prompt. Immediately we got the command prompt because 13 is not greater than 18. So condition is not satisfied. No other lines to read. So we got the command prompt. And now let us run once again. Let's satisfy the condition now. Yes, we got the result. You are eligible for voting. This is the output. Look at the print statement. Whatever you write in the print statement will be printed. Okay, fine. I hope you have understood the method. Now let's move on to if else statement. This is actually a perfect alternative statement. If condition is true, you do have a statement to say. If the given condition is false, we do have another statement to say. So look at the syntax. We do have if statement. In if statement, we provide the condition and you have to end up with colon, and after giving a tab space, you are supposed to write the action block. You can mention many lines as much you want. And finally, when you want to say the false statement, you have to come back to margin line and you have to write the keyword else, end up with a colon, and then start printing the false statement, that is statement block 2. Look at the flow chart. The flow chart is very clear. We do enter into the condition, that is if block. In if block only we will write the condition. After reading the condition, if it is satisfied, we are going to execute block 1. Or if the condition is not satisfied, we will execute block 2. We are not going to take both the blocks. We are going to skip one block. That is the meaning here. After completing this if else statement, whatever statement appears, we will execute as sequential method. Let's get into online editor and see how it works. Okay, for if else statement, let's edit the same program, previous program. We do have if statement and its action block. So after this print statement, I'm just going to press enter. Still the cursor remains after tab space, but to type else block, we have to cancel all the space and then you're allowed to type the keyword. After typing else, keep colon, then press enter. Cursor automatically will be placed after tab space. This is just to indicate it as the block statement. Now here we type, you can type any message there. The previous message, you are eligible for voting. Here we can type you are not eligible. Okay, that's a message we want to say to the user. Let's run the program. Here I give the number as 14. Press enter. You will get you are not eligible. So this is a message. If the condition is true, you will get print statement which is present under if block. If the given condition is false, else block will be executed. That is the basic concept. Now here we give different number that is greater than 18 and it says that you are eligible for voting. That's it. It is very simple and easy. Okay, children, I think you have understood if else statement. Now let's move on to nested if else statement. If you want to construct a chain of if statement, then you have to use this elif clause instead of else. So how to write this? First of all, we have to start with if block, if condition, and then you have to end up with colon. Finally, you should end up with else. Else, and then you have to keep colon. Then you can write the action block of else. In between if and else, you are allowed to write many elif statement. That elif, that is else and else if, like that. So it is joined together and it is written as elif. There also you have to provide the condition. This elif statement you can write multiple times. Now look at the flow chart. You will understand how it works. First of all, we'll start with the expression given in if statement. If that is true, no other lines will be read. It will complete with action block of if. In case if it is false, it will move on to elif statement. There it checks for the condition. If it is true, that elif statement's action block will be executed, or else if it is false, it move on to the else block. See, if we do have block 1, block 2 and block n. Here we can write block 3, block 4, as much you want you can write, up to n statement you can write. Out of all this, you are going to execute only one. If the first condition is satisfied, no other blocks will be executed. Only the first block will be executed. Likewise, where the condition is satisfied, that particular block will be executed. Here I give one program which is given in your textbook. Try this by yourself and check whether it is working. This is based on elif statement. We do have two memory boxes. We do get the values from the user at the runtime, and a calculation is done. Then we do have if elif statement. Try this program by yourself and check whether the answer is right or wrong. Okay, that's all for today. Let's quickly see the recap, what all things we have discussed in this video. We started with a control structure. It is two statements we have discussed completely: sequential and alternative or branching statements. Yet we have one more concept in this control structures, that is iterative or looping. We will see that topic in next video. Thank you.